Hello YouTube, in this video I'm going to show you this Zoids Ultrasaurus. We'll do a bit of a size comparison with the Zoidzilla so that you can see the difference. I'll also put a ruler up against this to give you the actual dimensions. First, let me explain a little bit about my Zoids collection and how this one fits in. I basically collected all of the Zoids from Europe and all of the ones from the 80s specifically, and even that was an awful lot of Zoids to be able to collect together. So this one is actually a Japanese release, but the colours are really similar to all of the European ones, and it fits in really nice with the collection. It's also such a large Zoid that I kind of was so tempted to just buy it and add it into the collection because it just looks great with all the others. So although this stands out as being the only Japanese Zoid in my collection, it is still an 80s Zoid, so it's vintage, and there was a new release of this, and it's not as good. Like, the colours are different, they don't tie in very well. Like I say, the reason I love this is just because the colours tie in with all the other Zoids that I own. It doesn't really, from a visual point of view, stand out. So I bought myself some of these extra bolts when I first bought this, and I was going to replace them all, but they're dark bolts and I don't think it would look very good, so I probably will try and get hold of some of these light grey bolts at some point because some of them have yellowed, and I'll replace those, but everything else looks great. A couple of parts on this have been painted red, but actually I think that ties in really nicely, and the guy who's done it has done a really good job. So as you know, Zoids have these little gold or silver men that sit in them, and on this one there are so many places where little men can sit. So if you have a look on the head here, a bit like on Zoidzilla, when you open the top of his head you can sit a little man in there. You can see a little gold guy in the top of his head there. And then if we, I'll just show you a bit closer, look, that lifts down and there he is sat in there. And yeah, if we work our way around this Zoid, you'll see they're all over the place. Look, there's one in the front here, another little bit that lifts down. Look, there he is in there. And yeah, they're just all over the place. There's another one just at the back behind here, look, just sat in there. And then we've got like this little bit, it's like a little launch pad on here. There's one that sits in there, he kind of slides off. And then you've got one in this gun, one in this gun on the other side. Then if we move to the tip of the tail all the way back here, you can see there's another one in between these two guns here. Look. The tips of those guns have been painted red, and so have all of the small guns. And if we look at the front here, it's mainly these long guns. The barrels have been painted black and then the ends have been painted red. But like I say, I really like that because the red bits tie in nicely with stickers and things on a lot of the other Zoids. He's also painted these front sections of the legs red as well, but they just look really great with those stickers on. All my Zoids were really crammed into a cabinet, so I had to squeeze them together even more to be able to get this Ultrasaurus in there. He takes up quite a lot of space, mainly because his tail is so long. Just trying to squeeze him in is quite difficult. So I made the decision right at the beginning just to buy all of my Zoids loose. I didn't want to buy any boxes, and I'm so glad that I didn't, because it would have taken up so much space and cost me an absolute fortune more than it did anyway. I collect so many other toy lines that it's just not worth collecting things in boxes. They just take up so much space. I have two main issues that I have to deal with when it comes to toy collecting. One is that a lot of these toys, if they're exposed to light over long periods of time, they can fade or they can yellow. And I really don't like that. So I keep all of my Zoids in the dark, same with all my other toys. But I also like them to be on display, which sounds a bit strange. So what I do is I keep them in cabinets with closed doors, and then I just open the doors so that I can see them whenever I want to. Okay, so you can see that his height is approximately 33 centimeters from the floor to the top of his neck here. You'll have to let me know in the comments if he's bigger or smaller than you were expecting him to be. I'm going to lay the ruler down flat now and we'll have a look at how long he is as well. I think I'm right in saying that this is the biggest Zoid that Tomy ever produced. Certainly the biggest from the 80s anyway. There is one that is slightly longer, but he's not as bulky, so he doesn't look as big. And then there is another one that is heavier, called Mad Thunder, but that guy's got like motors and stuff in him. Um, and he's like a big sort of rhino type guy. I might get him at some point as well, although he's another Japanese release. So here you can see he's about 63 centimeters long. So, you know, approximately just over a foot tall and just over 2 feet long. You can see here compared to my hand as well. When I first got him, when he first arrived, I don't think he's quite as big as I kind of pictured him being, but that's just probably because in my mind I kind of built him up to be even bigger. But we'll compare him with a Zoidzilla and you can see what you think. Okay, so here's a Zoidzilla, probably the best known Zoid of all time. It's the kind of large Zoid that everybody had back in the 80s. You can see that even though the Ultrasaurus is clearly bigger, it's not that much bigger. When you consider like the height, it's not much taller, and actually the length as well. With Zoidzilla's tail, it's not particularly that much longer really. But I guess just because with the neck stretching out and the tail stretching out, that's why he is quite kind of difficult to squeeze into a cabinet if you already didn't have much space in the first place. Okay, if you want to see my other video of all my 80s Zoids all together in one place, check that out on my channel. Also, I've got lots of videos of other 80s toy lines that I've kind of collected back, a lot of them that I used to own when I was a kid. There were just a couple of little Zoids that were really hard for me to track down at the end. One of them was called Cyberdon, is one of the Super 1000 Zoids, but I managed to get him now. I couldn't not have Ultrasaurus in my Zoids collection because he's so impressive. I may end up getting Mad Thunder one day as well, just because he's the heaviest Zoid. But again, he's a Japanese Zoid, so I'm not too fussed. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Hit subscribe if you want to see more videos in the future.